going into a wonderful weekend here. Look at that. Dr. Robb Kelly's ready to roll here. Good. So welcome back. Another week here. Let's talk about this way. I just want to say here, thank you guys so much for all the support, all the outreach. This has been such an amazing experience. I'm so excited to continue moving forward with this. I'm so excited. As you can already tell, I've said excited plenty of times already, but I have an amazing guest on today with plenty of experience, plenty of expertise. I'm really happy to share his word with you guys today. Before we start off, though, quick shout out to that band Hannah from Simi Valley, California. Some great guys out there putting some good music out there. Please give them a follow. Look them up on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, Bandcamp. There's so many streaming platforms. If you can think about it, they're probably on it. So thank you guys over to the band at Hannah. And here we go. Our guest this week, with over 30 years of expertise in the field of addiction, he is the author of Daddy, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking, founder of the Robb Kelly Recovery Group, and known for his specialism in addiction, talking on multiple shows, podcasts, radios, everyone. Here we go. Welcome, Dr. Robb Kelly. Dr. Robb Kelly, how we feeling this morning?
We're doing good, man. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure. We're going to save a life today, if nothing else.
I love it. I love it. That's what we're looking for. We're looking to share the word, share this different perspective out there for people to know about it. For some who may not know about the addiction world, get ready to open up because there's a lot about it. There's a lot to it. So starting off here, Dr. Robb, we usually go in a bit of a background here, tell a little bit about the life story from the get-go, where you were raised, your upbringing. And so let's start there. Who was Dr. Robb Kelly many years ago growing up?
Well, as you can tell from the accent, I'm not from East Texas. I'm from Manchester, England, and that's where I was born and grew up into you guys call it the project. We call it council estates, lower income families. My dad works for the gas company. He was the guy in the roads, digging the roads up for the big pipelines going through. My mom, cleaner, she cleaned for other people's houses, which later on in life, I hated that she had to do that. Born into a Manchester City family, because there are two teams in England.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I had a guitar in my hand by the age of 4. Was on stage professionally at the age of 9 with my auntie and uncle, kind of a musical family. Took my first drink at the age of 9, Liverpool, on the stage with playing music.
Wow.
And just kind of nobody knew about alcoholism or addiction. So I grew up in this family with our main doctor going, well, just stop drinking. And that's all they could say to me. So I got married, had 2 beautiful children, and bought the house on the hill and the Porsches and the Bentleys, and then it all went wrong. It went wrong because of my drinking, and some horrific things happened in that house.
Yeah.
Actually lost everything, became homeless, and was on the streets for over a year.
There's going to be a lot that we dive into off that. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot that we dive into. First off, I want to start off a little light here. Manchester City, obviously 2 teams out there. Are you a big soccer head?
Say again?
Are you a big soccer head? You love soccer?
Yeah, I used to be huge. I worked for Manchester United for 3 years as their
Oh,
psychologist. Yeah, so I grew up blue. Dad was disgusted when I changed over to United. But yeah, it's funny because when I first came over, I got all the English channels, football, 6 a.m. in the morning. And now, don't laugh at me, guys. Now I'm a Cowboys fan, and it's Cowboys
oh,
before Manchester United. I know. It's like this
oh.
year I've gone from United to Cowboys, and it's like they're both doing crap. So yeah, I've suffered twice this season.
Can I tell you what that shows, though? Loyalty, if you're going to stick with the Cowboys. It's going to show a lot
I
of loyalty,
know.
Dr. Robb.
They pay us now. They pay the fans to stay there. They're giving tickets out free of charge. Yeah,
Oh,
crazy.
man. Well, let's hope the
Well,
Cowboys have a better season this upcoming season here.
hey, well, they
Uh,
can't have a worse one, can they?
Yeah, right. I had to ask that just because I don't get many hosts out here that were born out of the country, so it's good to hear. And I just know out there in England, they love their soccer.
Yeah,
They
they do.
love their soccer.
Yeah.
But you did mention here that you started drinking. You had your first drink of alcohol at the age of 9. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and I know you grew up in what we call the projects. And can you say the term again that you guys call it out there?
Council estates.
Okay, so in those states, how does one find himself drinking at the age of 9? I mean, what kind of external factors are out there that drives one to say, "Hey, let's take a drink"? Is it an older brother of an individual? Is it maybe an adult figure you ran into very early in your life, aside from your parents or family, that just got this going for you?
Well, just let me say this before I answer that. Alcoholics are born and drugs are made. So
Mm.
alcoholics are born. We traced their imprinted genes back to a fetus level. So it's hereditary, drug addiction is the addictive personality. So I'm on stage, me and my auntie and uncle and a drummer. For the first act, the curtains opened and there was so many people there. I couldn't even catch my breath. I was a kid because guitar around my neck and I'm playing and I made some mistakes and my auntie kept looking at me and we got off at half time. We go back on again in like 30 minutes. And my uncle's going, "What's wrong, bro? You doing okay?" I said, "I'm so nervous." So he said, "Here's half a beer. Just drink that. You'll feel better." And I did. And unlike other kids my age, when they drink it and go, "Oh my God, that's horrible," when I drank that, something different happened in my body. I was all of a sudden confident. I was relaxed. I was just so that's where it started. My uncle Peter actually gave me that glass of beer, and it just went on from there. Not quickly, no nothing. It was just Friday, Saturday, Sunday. When we were out, I'd have this little tiny half a beer, and as we went through school and stuff like that, it just got a little bit more, a little bit more. Then I had my own bands and it just kind of took off from there. So alcoholics, when we take the first drink, we can't stop kind of thing. And
Yeah.
eventually I crossed over to that. But yeah, when I share that story with people, most people go, "Oh yeah, I did exactly. I was 6. I was that. It's crazy." But the other half of people go, "That's crazy. Like the age of 9, that's ridiculous." And
Yeah,
I,
I mean, well, it's just because, to be honest, there might be many people, right? In my own life perspective, I didn't have many people that started at the age of 9, maybe a little older, right? Still maybe in the preteens, but at the age of 9, that does blow me away a little bit because I would think, I mean, you really are a child at that point, right? And here you are going on stage, and so I'm already making that assumption. You're playing guitar, so you were in a band with some of your family for a bit.
yeah, and I was there. But you have to understand that the in England, it works like this on the council estates where we were born. That everybody drank. You came home from work, you went for a pint, you went back home. If you didn't drink, nobody trusted you. So it's a bit like the French with wine, 6, 7, 8 year olds drinking wine. And it's just the
Right.
same if you didn't. Like you walk into a pub with guys and you go, "You want to drink?" "Oh, I'm good. Just give me an orange juice." Man, that's a big thing. It's like, "Oh my God,
Mm,
kidding me? What's wrong with you?"
yeah.
So a lot of it was trust, and now we know it's social behavior as well that I was following. So
Yeah.
wasn't crazy where I came from.
It makes sense. So, a social stigma revolving around alcohol in a way that it's the norm for everyone. So, if you're not doing the norm right, everyone looks at you as
Yeah.
an outcast, and we're all trying to fit in as human beings.
Yes.
So that makes a lot of sense. It just wow, man, to be drinking at such a young age, and so it looks like it just got normalized more and more, knowing to calm the nerves. This was kind of the medication right away to say anything nerve wracking like this, going in front of a lot of people at that age. As you're doing more music, being in more bands, it becomes the okay, kind of have to have my routine of this numbing juice per se. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I was playing music and that's all I cared about. Back in the days, I wanted to be a pro musician. I wanted to be a rock star, earn lots of money. And that was my goal, and I was on track pretty good. I was on track really well for that.
How many bands would you say you've played in your lifetime?
Uh, 75, 80 bands, something like that. Over the
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I'd always sub at the weekends or, start a band or, people call you up, "Rob, are you available tonight? Play the guitar," because I play any instrument. Yep, yeah.
Sure.
Can you be a bass player tonight? Yep. So you'd often go out and it was, I grew up on a project. It was great money. And so when I went out Friday, Saturday, Sunday night playing with bands, it paid my mortgage off and probably my car payment. We were getting a lot of money back in the day. So yeah, I mean, it's just, eventually, somebody said to me one day, I'm about 16, 7, I don't know how old. Hey, can you cover for me at this studio? And I'm like, yeah, what do I need to do? It's session work. What's session work? Oh, it's when the bass player can't make it out of this band. So you go in and you play a piece of music and they give you some money and you go out. I went, really? Yeah, yeah. Can you? I said, I'll cover.
Yeah.
Strawberry Studios was the studio in Stockport, just outside Manchester. So off I go with my bass guitar, get in there. The guy comes in, "Hey, Rob, thank you." Sits me on a stool, plugged in anything there, puts a sheet of music, because it was sight reading. And he said, "Okay, this will take you like 2 minutes and 10 to play. You good with that?" Yeah, put the headphones on, click, 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 and you played the bass track exactly it's laid down. You come in, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, took that off, put another one on. So thanks, Rob, was back in, click, click. And I started to play the second piece. 2.5 minutes. It comes in, took it over, said, "Oh, thanks very much, Rob. There's the money." And it was something like 8 times the price I was getting for playing on stage. Because I was
Wow.
packing all my stuff at 4 o'clock. I'm leaving at 6 to get to the gig at 7 to leave at 11. And then so I became a session musician. It's like, I ain't traveling anymore. This is crazy money. And eventually
Yeah.
ended up at Abbey Road with all the crazy Abbey. I played with Elton John, Bowie, Queen, all them guys back in my day. Because I'm an alcoholic, remember, we're either all or we're nothing. So
Yeah.
that's middle of the road. I'm either in or I'm out. I'm either pregnant or I'm not. I've never played basketball. Why? I just know I'm not very good at it. Until, well, you can always learn. No, I'm never going to break a record. I'm never going to be anybody in basketball right now, so I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Man, it is crazy. Well, I'll tell you, can I just say how you humbly said some of those bands as, as it's kind of like no big deal. I'm sitting here like, I'm stuck already on that as you're going on. But that's just incredible. I mean, so you had this opportunity, it's starting to blow up for you, and this is the first time to me, honestly, to hear how a session musician works, right? For a lot of us, we look on the outside of a band and we go, oh, they're playing gigs, oh, they're playing local shops, right? If they're not that big. And that's what we know it as, or they're playing music that gets streamed on through YouTube, Spotify, whatever it may be. But I never really looked at someone within a session and goes, "Hey, I'm a guitarist or I'm a drummer that does a session for a band. If I got to fill in, you let me know the music and I do it." So I appreciate you letting us know about that because I think that's something. If it's something new for me, I can't imagine for other people too who might not know about that, right? Um, and so you've had this all going on, and so I feel like for you, Dr. Rob, things are just going higher and higher and higher in terms of what people look on the outside perspective look at and say successful. That man is successful, but here you are with this maybe hidden side or dark side of the alcoholism. So it seems as success rises, so does the drink.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. In actual fact, when I went for my audition at Abbey Road, I was so nervous. I went to the liquor store, I got a little beer before I went in. And then back in the day, they don't tell you, you don't have any cell phones. So you back on the train and you wait a couple of days, you get a letter saying, I think, I'm not 100% sure. I think I had about 4, 5, 6 auditions for that Abbey Road bass player. And every time so the second time, 1 beer, now I'll do 2 beers. And I got the job. I'll have 3 beers. So by the time I did my fourth or fifth, I couldn't really remember going in and playing, but it's second nature to me and I got the job. What does that tell me? Every time I drink, I'm successful. And
Right.
it started to take off and I got introduced to Coke and, like you do at the early hours of the morning. But then I'm going to college at the same time, the only person ever to go to college ever, because I'm all or nothing. Like I've created a multi-million-dollar company with Robb Kelly Group. I mean, it's a multi-million-dollar company. We work with A-list celebrities, movie, all that stuff. I've created that because I'm all or nothing. I don't do middle of the road. When I was living on the street, I died twice in the streets. They brought me back to life. I had nothing. Today, I don't know. I probably get paid about $1.2 million as my salary. And the only reason why I say that is I'm all or nothing.
Yeah.
There's no middle of the road. 100 grand a year. That's enough for me to live. No. Yeah. Now, just the princesses here, we give 25% of that away back to, into the community.
Yeah, of course.
I thought that, and stuff like that. But again, it's all or nothing. It's either, especially when I got sober. If I'm going to get sober, I'm not going to do the same old shit in the same old place for the rest of my life. I'm not going to do that. I want to change the world. And when I came off the streets, I was almost aggressively into this of changing. There's something going on in the brain. But no, it's not. There's something going in the brain that we don't understand yet. And it's life or death for me when I came out because nobody could tell
Mm.
what was going on with me. And I was angry. I was angry that the authorities took my children off me. The last thing my 3-year-old daughter says, my eldest, is, "Daddy, Daddy, please stop drinking." I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, man. I walked back into the house
Yeah.
and got another beer. 3 months later, I'm homeless.
And I gotta tell you, so you're telling me you're all or nothing. It's very black and white thinking is where I look at, or black and white. Like I feel similar to some things that I do in my life where, my wife will attest to it. It's just like there's no gray area for me. It's either I'm all in or I'm not into it. And if I'm in it, to say half ass in it, it doesn't really work for me. And so it's interesting the perspective you have there. And I know we dove right there into talking about homelessness, and I hope that you'll be okay with sharing a little more in depth on that because we talked so much about how things on the outside reflect looking good for you, and you explained a little bit now, and it's great you've got this group. But talk to us right now. Where is the point in your life where you realized, okay, like this is the highest peak, and now it seems like you just drastically went down. What point
Yeah.
of life was that where
Well, it all
homelessness hit?
started with this. It all started with coming down one day in the middle of the night. Nice house, two babies were 1 and 3 years old. I came down in the middle of the night to I needed a drink. Now you got to understand how the alcoholic brain different from the drug addicted brain. Like the hypothalamus hijacks the brain. So when I need a drink, my survival part of the brain is saying drink, other you die. So I comes down and looking around the kitchen, 2 or 3 in the morning. I find this bottle of vodka. I put it on the counter. Here's the madness. I put it on the counter. I turn around for a crystal glass. Like I'm not drinking out the bottle. I'm not an alcoholic. So while I'm getting this crystal glass, my wife follows me down and she snatches the bottle off the side of the counter. She said, I think you've had enough. What I should have said is, thank you, Mrs. Kelly. Gone back up to bed and slept until, I had to go to work. I took a kitchen knife out and stabbed her 3 times. And
Oh my
because I
gosh.
then grabbed the bottle, finished it. Now our phone plugged into the wall phone was near the front door. Now she was bleeding, obviously. I got to the front door. I call a taxi and I called the police and ambulance. And the taxi arrived, it was just around the corner. And I was stood there waiting until I heard the sirens. I put the phone down, got in the taxi and fled to Spain. And there was a murder charge or attempted murder charge out for me for about 3 or 4 months until all the attorneys and the police, because she wouldn't press charges. So the charges were dropped. I flew home, and when I got home, she had all the suitcases packed. She had the 2 children ready to go. And she said, I love you to the day I die, Rob, but you're not going to kill our children. So, and she took them. Now I'm fucking angry now. So you don't know who I am. You can't do that shit. So I got hold of my attorney. Next day, they come around with the 2 kids. Some court order is mangled from somewhere with a judge and dropped them off. So I put them in front of the TV. I'm 4 days sober by now. Put in front of the TV, walked into the kitchen to get them some juice, and the thought hit me, wouldn't it be great to have one beer to celebrate the children coming home? 2 or 3 days later, when the police kicked the door down and the children had been fed or changed diapers, I was in a stupor on the floor. There were bottles of vodka empty all over the place. I was served with unfit father papers, and they took my children. And my eldest is walking with mummy like this, like the child protection, the police, everybody was there. And she's walking down the path and she said 3 things to me. She said, Daddy, Daddy, please don't go. And then halfway down the path, she said, Daddy, Daddy, please get better. And as they got to the gate, they opened the gate and she turned around one more time and said, Daddy, Daddy, please stop drinking. And I couldn't do it. So I went from there to my parents. I lasted 2 nights in my parents. My dad threw me out 11 o'clock at night. So friends told acquaintances to the streets in a matter of a week. And I remember sat on the streets for the first night. It's freezing cold. It's raining. It's midnight. I'm sat on the streets going, where the hell did that go wrong? And there I was, abandoned.
It just to be honest, Dr. Rob, it frustrates me as an individual. I worked a little bit, and first off, I should say thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, that is very deep. It's a very personal part of your life, and one that just in the general context of addiction really frustrates me and breaks my heart. I used to work in a mental health center years ago up in Flagstaff, and I used to help run this treatment program. And the stories you would hear, some would have the same intensity as yours. And I just would be like, how can something be so powerful? How can something draw us to be the worst kind of ourselves over something that should be what we call common sense, quote unquote, but your family, your loved ones?
Yeah,
And it would frustrate me so much because I could see the love that someone does have for an individual, what they want for them, what they want to do with that loved one, and yet the option always goes to the drink, to
yeah.
the drug.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I got to ask you, Dr. Rob, maybe we can go in a little bit this scientific to help people understand it, right? Because some people just know the tip of the iceberg on addiction. What is it in alcohol? What is it in alcohol? What is it in these other drugs and other addictions that we have that has us choose that over blood, over family, over our children.
So when we look at alcoholism, is like I said, alcoholics are born. We have a predisposition, and we trace this back to cells in fetus, that when we take the first drink, it starts a phenomenon. It starts this disease, hikes up, and away it goes. We're allergic to the ethanol in alcohol. So we actually have an allergy towards this stuff that we're drinking, which is insane. Stop taking it. You know, I'm allergic to
Right.
cheese. Don't eat cheese. Oh, okay, then. So that's the part I couldn't understand. So then we started looking at the scientific research, the neuroscience behind this, and there's three parts of the brain that differ in an alcoholic than any other addiction in the world. That is the hypothalamus, basal ganglia, and the amygdala. So the hypothalamus is our survival part of the brain. It checks our temperature. It tells us, you know, when to eat, when to drink water, and just basically how to stay alive. It's a survival part of the brain. What we found during our testing was that at a certain point of the alcoholic's drinking career, because that's what it was for me, the hypothalamus turned round and hijacks the brain. Alcoholics only hijacks the brain and tells the brain to drink alcohol only, otherwise you'll die. That's why they
Wow.
go 6 weeks without food or water. So when it hijacks the brain, everything becomes de minimis. Like the only thing I've got to do to stay alive is drink alcohol. Even though we know not to the contrary, the basal ganglia is our repetition, strengthened, confirmed part of the brain. If you want to drive a car, you've got to do it several times. It becomes easy, but at first it's hard. That's the basal ganglia. Think of it as a clock face. And
Okay.
sometimes round, it becomes a working part of the mind. We don't have to think about driving. We can listen to music, wait to the wine, talking to your mom. Don't have to think about it. That's because it's become a working part of the brain. What happens with the alcoholic is because we're allergic and the childhood trauma more sensitive is like 12 o'clock we go on a bender, 10 after we try and get sober, 20 after the wife come back, half past the kids come back and say 22 we get that great job offer we've always wanted, and at 10 to we self-sabotage everything. And that is a continuous circle that we like. I ask anybody, why did you relapse? Well, I think that's an excuse. Give me a reason. That's an excuse. Give me a freaking reason. And the answer to that question is we don't have a reason until we found out what we have. A 98% success rate here with a money back guarantee if you relapse. Nobody else in the
Wow.
world does that because they
No.
don't understand the neuroscience behind that. That needs to be fixed. And the amygdala, the trauma center, like the smoke alarm for our brain, is more sensitive than other people, all human beings. That's why something can be said to us in childhood trauma for us is not a car crash or a divorce. Trauma comes to us is that looks silly, that coat you're wearing, devastated, in the subconscious brain. So all this stuff is hidden in the subconscious brain. And when it gets to 10 to the hour, subconscious brain spills all this stuff out. When you're going for the entry, you want to date that girl, buy that house. It comes out, you piece of crap. Your father was right. You won't never amount to anything. You didn't finish school. What a piece of shit. You're too fat. You're too thin. You're too blonde. You're too... Whatever it is stored there. Other people are like, I don't know, whatever. No, alcoholics and addicts here. Addicts to the addictive personality. 90% of people that come to me for help started in the doctor's office. So the repetitive behavior, again, with the basal ganglia, becomes a working part of the mind. So the two diseases show up the same. They show exactly the same, but they're just different in certain areas. Like you can become addicted to something and can't stop taking it or doing it, like going to the gym or cocaine, whatever it is. That's addictive personality caught into addictive behavior. Whereas alcoholism is the predisposition. We're born with all these differences to other people, and people don't understand that. You know, if you could just stop
Yeah.
drinking because of your kids. If I could have stopped drinking because of the kids, you think I'd have carried on? Do you think after stabbing my wife 3 times, after dying on the streets, something here would go, hey, Rob, I think this is a bit crazy. I think you should stop. I could not stop. Once I take the first drink, all bets are off. I don't know where I'll end up. I used to end up in foreign countries, Spain, on a bender. I cannot stop. And you or nobody else out there is going to stop me once. I will kill you. I will kill you with bare hands if I've not got a weapon on me to get that up. That's not normal, guys.
No.
That's insanity. So the definition of insanity in my world is me not being able to see my truth. I didn't know I was causing all this shit. I didn't know that my life was, but I was going to die any second. I didn't know any of that. My truth was, if I don't drink alcohol, the hypothalamus is telling me, you will die. It's insanity. So the choice is taken away once the hypothalamus hijacks the brain. We don't have a choice. And the magical thing about all this is once it's repaired, we're given our choices back. And it's beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. I really appreciate that detailed answer there. I mean, this is what we need. I think more people need to understand this.
Yes.
I don't know about you, Dr. Rob Kelly. I don't know if you've had, siblings of loved ones or whoever may come to the program, right? Someone in relation to them to say, I don't understand. Like, why can't they just give it up? And they get frustrated with that, but they don't understand there's something behind it. There's something more in detail behind it. Obviously, it's not as easy as just saying, can you just put down the drink? It's your loved one, or everyone would be sober, right? And so
Exactly.
I really appreciate this. And I think your mission of sharing this with other people and getting people exposed to this is an amazing one because they need to hear this. I'm telling you, as you're going through all this is something that I need people. If there's anything they get from this episode, really is the science behind it because there's just people don't have that education, and I'm sure you know it on how many people talk about this is ridiculous, you need to have it makes me so angry when people go and just say things in the general context of they just got to stop drinking, they don't have no willpower, they don't understand it, they got to be better. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable for these people that don't know the science behind it and why these things are happening. It's not a measure of willpower, yes, gets into it, but there's more to it. There's more that you have to address. So I really appreciate it. And I got to ask you personally, how many people that have gone through the program, siblings, will approach it in a way with you and think that, oh, it really should just be a willpower thing?
Oh, I mean, with the 10,000 patients I've worked with so far and the millions of people from my TV and my books and all that stuff, uh, 80% just say like, just stop. I don't understand why you can't stop. And then when we get into the neuroscience behind it and the psychology behind what we're really dealing with, people are aghast. They go, what? Yes. So when I say this, people freak out. Alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism, the same with drugs, porn, sex, 1%. So if I don't have a problem with alcohol, then it's 99% a thinking problem and 1% a drinking problem. And they
Yeah.
go free until we come out with the neuroscience. And I speak to governments, I speak to scientists, I lecture in front of all these people on this stuff. And, we keep trying to keep ourselves small. We never advertise, people are word of mouth kind of stuff. But we have this information that I'm really proud of because, yeah, you sounded like my dad then. What's wrong with you? Stop drinking because of your kids, stop drinking because, I mean, any normal people would. They would go, okay, I'm going to cut back or stop. But when they find out the intricacy of the disease, and that's got nothing to do with the alcohol, man, then we find out the gateway drug is childhood trauma. And it's
Mm,
multiplied by a million to what everyone else thinks it is because we hear things different as alcoholics and addicts. We hear things different. Why do we hear things different? Because we're sensitive. So me and my brother on a kitchen table when we were about 8 or 9, 10, we're on there on the table. My mum walks in, and this is what she said to both of us: "Get down off that table, get down, you idiot!" Before your dad comes in. My brother jumps down, and I freeze. Why do I freeze? This is what I've heard: "Get down off that table, you stupid idiot!" It's what I've heard. So I freeze. We hear things different as damaged children. Even childhood trauma without alcohol or drugs, we hear things different. So at one time, my business was 95% alcohol and drugs. It's only 5% alcohol and drugs. And the more we get into this, we found out that this program we work for here can work for, anxiety, depression, PTSD, childhood trauma, all these stuff to do with psych. This is the answer to it. It's crazy, but we've got to get out. We've got to get out the thinking of if we can just stop drinking, everything will be okay. So you go to a treatment center for the affluent guys, you pay $30,000 to go in. What do you learn from that? Nothing. Oh, they might teach you on relapse prevention. There might be a great sauna in there, and you don't get anything. The percentage on a treatment center is about 9 to 10%. Ours is
yeah.
99. What are they doing, or what are we doing that they're not? Well, this ain't a fucking game. Let's put that on the table straight away. This is life or death we're talking about. We turn people down. We turn mega stars down because they're not ready. We're not. I
Mm,
don't not take them. And sure enough, they've gone crazy, shaved their head, and all that stuff. We won't. You have to pass an assessment to get into this. You have to pass an assessment. We will turn your ass down. I don't care how much money you've got. We're not into that. I believe in God. And when I do the right thing, He provides everything I need. End of story. And that's it. That's the way you got to look at it, is what's going on. Because it's not what you think it is, guys.
Yeah, no, I'm into that. I think you do have a big point there. I feel so. Look at what you're doing and the treatment program you set up, right? And in the ability for the assessments you guys have. Now you look at some of the infrastructure of the problem that we have, this epidemic going on right now with addiction, where people will enroll to a state type program. Like for one that I work for, right? A lot of state insurance, Medicaid, where the cover stayed by that insurance. This is usually a lot of low income
Yeah.
individuals, next almost homelessness, that try to do this. But I will tell you, there's not much funding to that. And as someone who's worked out in industry, you wonder why the percentage is so low. Well, look, that type of work is so hard to get people to be in that type of field. Why? Because there's a lot of burnout. Why? Because the programming isn't set for everyone to fully understand it. There are people that we would hire on that are coming maybe fresh from college or that had a job maybe at a grocery store who said, I feel I call into this, which is great. Let's try it out. But hear what I just said. What real expertise do you have behind that? What experience do you have behind that? What how can you learn something so different than anything you've ever done, and you're working with human individuals? This isn't a product, human individuals who have different ways of thinking, each on their own.
Yeah.
Not everyone's got it the same way of thinking. Not everyone approaches the thing the same way or in the same perspective. So then you look at these individuals, and then they look at some of these people who they can tell. Addicts can always tell, I always say, people who have never could never understand what they've gone through. So then it comes to thinking, how can I take you serious?
Yeah.
These are the issues we're having. Sometimes with well-established groups like your own, there's not enough for many people to find that type of resource. And this is the issue that's going on. And so I hope that with a little more education, with a little understanding of resources such as your group, right, that we can try to battle this, or even more so for the government state to look at you and say, hey, what can we replicate from you? What can you consult us on to better these programs? Because a lot of these programs are going to be more accessible than maybe some of the private ones, right?
Well, we're actually talking to JFK right now, the health minister, and we're
Oh,
trying to
wow.
implement these things. So, like I say, 25% pro bono, of our work is we want to educate people. It shouldn't make any difference how much money you got, man. It should make
I
a
agree.
difference in your neuroscience behind that people don't want. It's well, my sponsor said this. That's all well and good, but why do you keep relapsing? Why is all the family around you not speaking to you? What's going on? I mean, 12. I got sober in AA. I want to put that out there. I was in 30 years AA, but the book is amazing, life saving information in there. But the people in it are idiots. The meetings I go to, and they just want to do that. What's one day at a time? I don't even know what that is. That's not an AA thing. That's when we found out 3 parts of the brain reset every 24 hours. I don't even know what that is. Well, just keep coming. It works if you work. Yeah, what works? Well, tell me what the work is, and I will work it. Oh, it's just keep coming back. And guys, you've got it wrong. So when I'm going to AA like I did, and my first few sponsors that I looked up to 20, 30 years, but we weren't really alcoholics. They were heavy drinkers that stopped drinking from day one in AA with no work whatsoever, nothing. And he's going to tell me how to get sober just because he waited a month to do a first step. Reckons I can.
Hmm.
Well, what happens? I keep relapsing, man. And I think it's my fault. I think it's me that I just can't get it. Bullshit, you can't get it. If somebody relapses and God forbid died, which you have in the past, I used to go straight to the sponsor. What happened to Billy? Oh, he wasn't ready. Don't tell me he wasn't ready, you idiot. It was your fault. You think a sponsor is or a psychologist, you think it's just like, oh, well, we'll just take him for you. You should be ashamed of yourself, sponsor. Ashamed because I blame you for this shit. You should have had him in that boat. You should have, or whatever it is. I mean, loads of treatment centers are amazing. You should have had him working from day one. Do you not understand the way the brain works around this shit? People haven't got 24 hours. They haven't got it. So we
Yeah.
created our own meetings where people come in. We pay for everything. You get a bed book straight away. You sit down, you enjoy the meeting. You do not move out of that door until one of my guys gets hold of you and starts you on the program. And that's where the percentage used to be, up 98%. But it's like treatment centers, and you go and see your doctor. What the hell? Medical doctors don't know shit about alcoholism or addiction. They never got. They don't know nothing about that. So what did he do? Well, they prescribe these pharmaceutical drugs. So can you imagine, Wayland? Just stay with me, man. So
Yeah.
a board of a pharmaceutical company sits together one morning, and somebody said, "Do you know this? Do you know this heroin thing on the street? It's a multi-trillion-dollar business. Can we get a piece of that?" The guys go, "How can you get a piece of that?" Somebody goes, "Well, How about if we invent a drug? Okay, let's call it something silly like Suboxone. Okay, then we convince everybody that by coming off street drugs and going on to the same thing, pharmaceutical drugs, that they can call themselves clean and they've stepped away from danger. And the fucking world bought it. The world
Y-
bought it.
Yep. Yeah, no, I have
Yeah.
the same gripe with you on that. I never was a big believer in that. It was a tough spot for us because obviously we have doctors within our old agency that would say, "Hey, this is what we're going to prescribe to help you out, to wean you off," and obviously, right? You also speak on behalf of the company, so at the time, I would never say much on it, just like, "Well, okay, well, hey, if you think it's best," but in my head, I was always furious about that because that's what I don't understand. And again, Dr. Rob, I think you know this too, right? My wife likes giving me a hard time about this because there are things we're in this world. I say, where the hell is the common sense?
Yes.
But what is common sense? Everyone's different. I have to remind myself of that. And so when I think of things like Suboxone and other things that people can take to methadone, right? Methadone's another one that I think I've heard
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
Um, that people can take to wean off, to get clean. You're just replacing a drug with another drug.
Correct.
And
There you
and and I've never been a big fan of that. And for others who may be listening, who's saying, "Well, it helped me out," good for you. And I mean that. Everyone's different, but
go.
I think in the general context of things, we can agree that you're just supplementing out. And don't get me started in the pharmaceutical world because I will go down a dark rabbit hole with them because there is so much corruption, so much dark stuff with that people can't see. Did you know that we're one of the only countries, if not the few? I thought maybe just the only one that does advertising on on
The only
on
one. The
drugs. The
only
only
one.
one. Yeah,
That's
so
going to
there it is.
stop, by the way. That's going to stop. I've actually
Good.
we've heard that from the source. But if you use Suboxone was created for one reason. Well, it's because of money, but it's supposed to be a taper for 2 to 3 weeks, and you're off. Now, if that's used, I can live with that. That's amazing. Good stuff. If you're on it more than 2 months, have a guess what? The brain doesn't know the difference between pharmaceutical drugs
Mhm.
and street drugs. You think you're
Yep.
clean? No. If you want to tell yourself that living life, well, brilliant. But I'll tell you something now. You will never get everything back. You will never perform at your best, and you will always die early, if not relapse. 1%. So if you're taking, it's crazy. Like non-alcoholic beer, will you stop it already? Stop it. It's not the alcohol, it's this. If I go into detox medically assisted, if you have to do it, great. But me, I wouldn't do it. Why? I need to sit in that freaking pain. I need to know quite well what it's like coming off that shit. And it almost killed me. That's what I need to know. I did it old school, man, back in the 80s before all this stuff was invented, man. And I needed that stuff to look back on and go, something, I don't, but better still when I'm going working with somebody. They go, what do you know,
Yeah.
Rob? I've seen you on TV, and what do you know about homelessness? Check. What do you know about losing your kids? Check. What about being beaten almost to death on the streets with all your teeth getting up? Check, check, check. See, I've done all that shit. That's what gives me, you see the diplomas on the wall, there's PhD from Oxford, there's a PhD behavioral science and psychology from Southampton University. You think I use that for a second when I'm working with people? They're not worth the money their fucking stuff's wrote on. They really, know what's gold does? I remember that, Jimmy. Yeah. I remember oh, yeah, man. I mean, this is the beauty of God wants us to be affluent. God wants us
Yeah.
to succeed. I can change your mind in 45 minutes. Anybody comes to me who wants to succeed in whatever that looks like for you, 45 minutes. It's not, if you're going to see a therapist in 1 3 months, what? I mean, surely it's just a chat and it can't be getting you well because you can change your neural pathway in a second. So
Yeah.
what really going on here? Treatment centers that you're coming out. I'm drinking on the way home from the treatment centers, high end, by the way, I'm drinking on the way home. What the hell's that all about? Because they don't have, well, first of all, it's a money making business. No repeat customers means going broke. Nobody wants that. When therapists are telling me in treatment centers, there's 40 people there. By this time next week, half of you would have relapsed. When we're being taught stuff like that, where the brain hears, becomes internal dialogue, becomes belief, becomes action. If I tell you you're a piece of shit for so long, you're going to believe you're a piece of shit. It's just the way the human brain works. It's the mirroring part of the brain.
Yeah.
But uncover, discard of that stuff in the past and move forward. And if you're going to move forward, you've got to remember one thing. It ain't about you. It's about how many people you can help on the way. That's when you start getting blessed. That's when you start learning more about this. My feet will always be in the trenches, despite what I own or what I always. That's where I'm comfortable. You'll always find me under the bridge in San Antonio. I have a restaurant next door, a British restaurant. And on Sunday, when everything's gone and the week's ended, we get all this food that's left over. We put it in the back of my car. We travel down, and I'm sat with the homeless people handing all this food out. That's me, not the stuff you see here. In a joking way, it keeps my wife happy and pays the mortgage. I don't get anything to do with that, you know.
Yeah.
My deal is when I'm walking past somebody, if I stop at the lights, red light, they come with the bucket, I always put like $20 in. My friend the other day said, "Do you know what they're going to do with that?" I said, "I fucking hope they're going to buy alcohol and drugs with them." Because that's not my problem. That's what I would have done on the streets. My deal is I give. What they do with that money is none of my concern. And people
Mm.
get that. They give you the money, but there's a time, let me take a photograph and just give the freaking money already. And you'll get that, tenfold back. But it becomes a whole lifestyle. It's not just, well, if I do this, I'll keep sober. When you work with me and you carry on doing this program, and when you leave me, it's impossible to relapse. Your DNA has changed. So when we have a psychic change, which is a mind change of mind, okay, and some kind of connection with my energy, which is my mind, who sits in the brain, mind over matter. So the mind in the morning can set you up for the day. That's what we do. Connects with another power outside you. Your DNA changes. Why is that important? I ain't the same guy as I used to be, man.
Yeah.
It's not that kind of thing, but like it. Well, most alcoholics and addicts get complacent.
Yeah. No.
Loads of times on the way here, Wendell, I'm not a saint, I haven't got 30 years sobriety. I really that's quite a few because I pulled away, got selfish, bought that Porsche 911 and the solid gold Rolex watch and a big car, and all of a sudden I wasn't helping people, and it's going to cost you money to come and see me, and I don't speak to. Oh, boom, it went again. Dallas, Texas. Everything was taken away from me again, and God said, "Stop being a dick. You know why I give it to you." So I got close to God. And I started to, even when I was in the halfway house in Dallas, the 24-hour club, sleeping on the floor with cockroaches and 20 other guys, best time of my life. I will always be there with my feet because, it's this is a gift that you can give away. And today, with what I do, I can change your mind to become a millionaire, an entrepreneur, a best father. So listen to this, guys. I've not seen my daughter. It's 30 years now. Daughter's estranged, never seen her. Mom would never let me contact them, anything like that. 4 years ago, middle of the night, now I'm a concierge doctor. I deal with 4 patients only, and they're usually A-list celebrities. But when that phone dings, I might be on a plane in 30 minutes. So it dinged. I got the phone, I turned it around, I squinted out, and it was my daughter, Charlotte. She calls herself Charlie. And she said, "Dad," she called me Dad, man. First time in 30 years. "Dad, I've just seen you on TV in England. I want to see you. I've got something to show you, and I don't believe what everyone's telling me about you." So we have people around us, as you can imagine. So I'm on a flight within like 45 minutes, me and my wife. We head
Yeah.
there, stayed in a hotel around the corner. The morning came, I'm walking to the house, I'm crying, shaking. All the bad stuff tried to come back. We saw Father was you, man. And I stood at her door, and I said to my wife, "I can't knock." And I'm just about to turn away, and she opens the door. It's like, "Dad," and we hugged and we, laughed for what seemed like an hour, but it was probably 2 minutes. Then she grabbed me by my hand and she walked me into her living room and she handed me my 3-month-old granddaughter. This is the shit that happens to us, guys, when we do that. The money. The money will come if you want the money. That's never not going to happen, guys.
Yeah.
What quality do you bring to another human being? Have you made 4 to 5 lives better today?
Powerful stuff there, Dr. Rob. I would have to agree with you on that. Absolutely. The fact that to make someone's life better, to touch an individual's life is probably the best way that you can get, in my words, yours, I'm sure, really paid in this life, right? The sense of happiness. And it's amazing that you reconnected with your daughter here. And it's as we're as we're talking throughout this episode, I got to tell you, there's some times where I do kind of take this metaphoric step back or sit back a little bit hearing this, because it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable the many life experiences that you've had, and to see where you're at now. Also, credibility. Well, you named it. How many people really rise from the lows of lows such as that to not only have a successful company, but to help others out, right? To give back to individuals. And so I really want to dive now into, and you've already talked a bit about it, but what makes the Dr. Robb Kelly Recovery Group so different than others? What services should people be looking forward to? Let's talk about someone who's just hearing this and saying, okay, hey, let's maybe start off with this. Someone who lives out in California, knowing that you're in Texas, how do they engage with you? How does that process start for them?
Well, it's all telehealth. 90% of our work is telehealth. So we have patients all over the world.
Beautiful.
There's a couple of things that changes us. One is we don't concentrate on the alcohol, drugs, food. We don't concentrate on that. We have software that is exclusive to us and other people's that designed it. That's 9D, which is 9-dimensional headphones on, 9-dimensional message subliminally, so you don't hear that. There's psychology, there's brain spotting, there's photomodulation units that restore old neural pathways and redirect them away to when like you was like a kid that you didn't have any worries in the world and you always made sure shit happened. It's stuff like that. And when you come here, you are treated properly. Now, if you want to be an idiot, like a lot of my celebrity guys come over, they try and, well, I'll tell you now, doctor, I'm not going to do this. I go, okay, go home. You can't tell me to go home. We paid this money. I don't give a shit. Go home, no refund. Go. And I walk away. I mean, I don't take any shit today off nobody. I took a lot of shit even sober. Even in this industry, I took a lot of shit until I realized, So subliminal messaging is real easy. So let's say they come to the car park and let's say we've done our research. Okay, Johnny Smith's booked for Monday. Okay, research the crap out of him. What's he like? What does he eat? What do you like? They come all information. Is a Dallas Cowboys fan. I saw him with his kid. Dallas Cow. Okay, when he gets out the car in the car park, there will be a discarded can with Dallas Cowboys on it, or a hat or something in the hedge. So he sees it subliminally, but he doesn't take any notice of it. But it's sunk into the subconscious brain. When he walks in, one of the girls will be wearing a Dallas Cowboys t-shirt. Now he's starting to feel at home. He's sat in reception. He looks up to the TV, and the Dallas Cowboys are playing one of the best games they've ever played. Now he's really in a great mood. He comes into me, he sits down, and all of a sudden, all them barriers are gone. Now we can get around to the real work. So again, childhood trauma is cleared up, reprogramming subconscious patterns, reprogramming the brain as a whole, because we're all in patterns. We don't realize it, but we are, and breaking all patterns. And like I say, the 9D, the photomodulation units rearranges the brain and lots of other stuff around it. I mean, you're being told from the second you come in things that are true about you. We can't lie. Like, oh, it's amazing. That's a great shirt. Where'd you get that shirt from? Oh, well, just, wow, look at them shoes now. Where'd you get them shoes from, Billy? You're looking good today. Anything that the mind takes in that's good will store in the conscious. Anything that's bad that's said to you is stored in the subconscious. Blatantly speaking, in layman's terms, we need more good neural pathways than we do bad. So the key to all of that is 300 neural pathways die every day in the brain. What are you replacing them with? Are you replacing them with old thought patterns, or are you coming here and replacing it every day with new stuff and the belief that you can do it? Because it's all belief and confidence that we can change people in seconds. So everything I say has been researched. How can we dominate one person? So one person can't change 9. So show me your friends, I'll show you your future. But 9 people can change 1. It's the mirroring part of the brain. We had 9 actors in the waiting room. One patient came in free of charge. She was happy, but she didn't know about the actors. We paid the actors to come in and sit down. The only thing was every time a buzzer went, every 45 seconds, everybody stood up. The 9 actors stood. The scene was set. All the 9 actors stood up. So she's on her phone. She glances up, glances down. Sat down again. 45 seconds later, they all stood up. Now she's put her phone in her lap and she's looking around. We're almost 2 minutes into this. That's all. Okay? 45. She stood up with everybody else, which is cool. Okay? As we call the actors in, pretending to be patients one by one, she's the only one left in the waiting room. She stood up. These are the things we do that we don't know we do, but we get attached. If you're with a friend that has a stupid saying like, shut up, you'll be saying it real soon. Real soon. So what people tell us is who we become. The idea is to stay away from the people that are negative. There's 2 kinds of people in this world, guys. The people that love you for who you are and the people that want to be you. Make no mistake. That's, oh, he's jealous of me, don't like me. Yeah, you're threatening people around you. because of your stature, because of your positive beliefs, because that little business you used to have, everyone laughed when you used to knit socks in your bedroom, is now a multi-million-dollar company. People are threatened by you. People just don't like you, they're threatened by you. And people need to know this. You know, no one's coming to the door, man, with $1 million check. We're
Yeah.
on our so we have to get with the right people to make shit happen. You know, my daughter is now my lead therapist in my Manchester office. I have 5 offices around the world.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
make shit happen. You don't wait. You do make stuff happen, man. I mean, if you had a thought pattern, you've got to act on it within 7.3 seconds. What does that mean? Well, if I'm sat on the couch tonight, big bag of chips, which I don't eat, big bag of Coke, which I don't drink, but let's say I'm watching TV, my wife's there, Arnold Schwarzenegger comes on the TV. Do you know what, wifey? I'm thinking of going to the gym tomorrow. I ain't going to the gym. She knows it. I know it. The dogs know it. Even the cat walking by is going, I don't think so, Rob. But if in that 7.3 second time frame, if I get up straight away, go to the bedroom, get my sneakers and my t-shirt and put it near the door when I'm going to walk out, it's a 99% chance of me going to the gym the next day. So we can't wait. We have to move forward. I'll tell you this from all my 40 years of, 64 of being around, that once you start to stagnate, you will die. Alcoholics and addicts die.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that is so much packed in right there. I really appreciate it. It sounds like one of the big things that drew me on the way you guys are doing treatments, subliminal messaging. You're
Yeah.
doing little things like that to kind of start getting their mind going without them even knowing. That's unique. That's great. I
Let me
think
ask you
it's
a
a
question.
very different perspective.
Let me ask you a question. You
Yeah,
feel good right now?
I do feel good right now.
I've planted 4 words in your head.
Okay. Are you going to reveal this to me or are you going to reveal it to me after the episode? I got to ask. Okay,
You know,
after?
I can never tell you because you're going to
Oh,
reverse it.
really?
Going to reverse it. But yeah, I mean, you're kind of on a high now because, yeah, it's crazy. It's
Interesting.
crazy. Like,
I'll tell you, I got to tell you something, Dr. Robb Kelly. You might be getting messages from me after this podcast if you don't tell me. So just a heads, and it's okay if you don't ever tell me, but I am curious. But I love this. So this is how your brain works. This is how you're working at stuff, how you're working treatments. And if it's got that high much of a success rate, beautiful. I'm intrigued. I'm sure people hearing this are intrigued. I really hope that people are going to be sharing this out and about. Couple questions for you here now. One thing that I love to do on the show, and then I got some follow up here, but on this show, we always talk about the future and what that looks like for an individual. Obviously, you have so many great things going for you right now, and it looks like your job's not even close to being done. You've got such a big mission. I love this, and I'm going to be following, and I hope others around that are listening to this will be following your journey on this because this is a very redeeming journey, a very personal one. It's just a beautiful, beautiful perspective behind it and what you're doing. Where do you, Dr. Robb Kelly, hope to see yourself in 10 years? What is going to make you still happy this day, obviously still sober, but where's Dr. Robb Kelly in 10 years from now?
we're gonna change the food industry because that gets us sick and the pharmaceutical company keeps us sick. So I want to have changed them. Help, a little tiny help. These guys are this that I'm dealing with, but I'm here. Help change them. I want a 100-bed rehab in San Antonio, 50% paid, 50% free. So we can take you guys up the street in that treatment center, or not treatment center, in that center. We want a store for clothes. We want a store that'll sort all your benefits out, your housing out if you need it, transportation, all this stuff, medical stuff will be in this massive big unit as well. And just continue to change the world, man. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I believe I'm a powerful force, and that's one of the ways to greatness, you know? Feet in the trenches, as always. You can tell that by, you can Google me, tell me I'm big into that, man. I'm big writing checks for schools. I have a lunch debt. Freaking hell's a lunch. I didn't even know about it until 4 years ago. We write checks for at least 10 schools around us. You know,
Love that.
$40,000-$50,000 we spend every year just on writing lunch debt. All this stuff needs to increase. I will be happy. I have about, like I say, 10,000 patients and probably 1 million people with the knock-on effect. I want 100,000 patients and I want 100 million people as a knock-on effect. So in 10 years' time, I'm never going to retire, so I'm not going to sit back. But I want somebody running this company, and then running my restaurant and everything, so I can sit back and just work with people from a beach house somewhere. And I could go do that now, but time isn't right now. There's more work to be done. And so the mixture of work and, balance of nice, normal, stress-free life. We've got it. I have one thing that not a lot of people have, and that is enough. I have enough.
Yeah.
How can I help change people because I know something with my God. When I go up to heaven, man, and the gates are open and I stand in front of God, you know what he's not going to ask me? How much was that house you lived in? Wow. How much was that car? But I've some, what? No, it's going to ask me one thing. How many people did you help? And I want a big number.
I love that. What a beautiful answer there for you, Dr. Robb Kelly. I mean it. I mean, you're still wanting to go on the mission and also giving back. That is so huge. So huge. I love that about you. You want to give back and touch people's lives. I really hope people can see this and say that should be the goal in this life. I really do think so. My follow-up question here, I think maybe a lot of our listeners, a lot of the viewers are wondering, you have a unique personality of taste, my friend. The glasses, can I tell you, that's a signature look for you. There's plenty of videos, plenty of photos I see with the glasses that you have on right now. Tell me the story behind the glasses you have.
So I have checkered matching pants and yellow shoes. I
Okay.
used to wear yellow glasses, but I wore these this morning. They're conversation starters. So
Yeah, I'd
I'm
say so.
64, right? And very few people go, "You're 64. Why'd you dress like that?" And what are you going to do? How are you going to stop me dressed like this? But the
I
others
love
are
it.
like, oh wow, I love the glasses. Or how you look so great. Your styling is, yeah, it's a conversation. So everybody's going through something. So when somebody comes up, this is how it usually goes. Oh wow, I like the glasses. Thank you, man. Oh my God, you're English. Yeah. What are you doing over here? Oh, my uncle, my auntie, my blah blah blah. That's what it is. It's just like when I turned 60, man, it's like, okay, I've crept up with my weight. I don't like it. I pulled off TV about 5 years ago. So I'm going to change. So I changed, man. And it's just like, if I can do this, then you can do anything. It's like, I don't care. There's one thing I've learned on my travels. Anybody that's doing as good as you or better will never negatively comment on anything that you do. It's always the people that are doing less than you want to comment. So I don't give a shit what everyone thinks of me, but yeah, just to turn the heads in the room, man, it's amazing. It's like they see, like I've got this AMG GTS Mercedes. It's a drop top. I'm at the signal lights waiting, and another Mercedes will pull up like a stern guy with a tie on, and he's listening, Dre blasting out of my speakers, man, and he's listening to classical music, looking over and going, "How old are you?" And I want to look back and say, "What's it got to do with you?" I don't give a shit, and drive off. That's that kind of stuff, man. I want to live my life for me. I want to do
Yeah.
outrageous things. I don't care. Like we opened a restaurant because somebody said to me, "We should have a British restaurant out here." I said, "Okay." So I flew my sister home from England. We got an investor. It's only like 18 months ago. And we opened a restaurant. No experience, by the way, in one of the most dangerous industries that only shows a 3%. And
Oh, yeah.
go bankrupt in the first 2 years. We are killing it. Why? Because we knew we would kill it with no experience. So if I
Yeah.
do that, what are you capable of doing, guys?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, I'll tell you what, Dr. Rob, I love the look you got. It's a good fit. You pull it off. So keep rocking it, my brother. One of my other last questions for you here. Okay. I had someone point this out and I looked at it myself to see if I was looking at it too. Is this real? And it is. One of the biggest celebrities. Now, you've already mentioned some big bands that you've been associated with, play with, but in today's time, we all know Post Malone is a pretty big known name.
Mm.
Did I see that picture right on your Instagram? Was that
Yeah,
Post
yeah.
Malone you were with?
So there's a couple of people that said I could mention the names. I just can't publicate it somewhere, but they mentioned the
Sure.
name. One of them was Post Malone, man. He's like, I worked with him for about 4 months. I convinced him thoroughly that he would become a mega superstar. We convinced his family. We took him through. I played every day with him because I'm a musician, as you know. And I left him on the Monday, and about 3 weeks later, he signed his first contract.
Unbelievable.
We had
Look,
another guy that signed and came to us. We picked him up from jail, handcuffed. We handcuffed him, brought him back. We brainwashed him that much that things would happen. And while he's at my house, um, a contract come through for the biggest movie that was ever made over the last 10 years. It was a mega movie. And the third one I can say, but I don't think I'll mention him, is he wrote a recovery album in my living room. That's all I can say
wow.
about that. So yeah, yeah.
The star power's high there, my friend. Amazing. Amazing. Last thing I'd like to, we'll talk about some of the stuff you got going on and what people need to look out for. But another thing I like to do on this show, which to me, I feel is the best part of the show because it's a direct message to them. Obviously, you've talked a lot about what's going on, what you've been through, and what you're doing, which is all amazing. But for an individual, we'll go in your scenario here, Dr. Robb Kelly, for an individual who is just getting sober, maybe a few months, maybe a year sobriety, and saying, I want to be that guy. Look what he's doing. Look what the amazing things he's starting to do and give back to others. What if they want to open their own treatment program or they want to start something that they feel strongly about, starting their own business? What are some words of advice you could tell that individual?
First of all, you need to believe you're worthy of that. People call me all the time, Dr. Rob, I'm opening a practice. How much should I charge an hour? The answer is always the same. How much are you worth? So find your worth, guys. Find your identity. Clear up childhood trauma. Okay. Start talking to friends about your idea and pretend it's already happened. Hang around the people that are already doing that successfully. So if you're on 40 grand a year and you want 80, you have to hang around the guys that earn 80, man. You're never going to get it living a 40 grand life. So find the guys around you. Try and have one lunch a month with somebody who's doing something that can really do something in the world. And that's it, man. You got to believe. You got to start acting already. Visualize it. You know, quantum physics backs this up, man. You keep visualizing that stuff, it'll come true. You know what we think about. So if you think you can do it, you're right. If you think you can't do it, you're right. You know, the mind is very, very powerful, but it controls the mind over matter. If you can conquer that with your breath work, mirror work, and teeth work in the morning that we ask all of our patients and friends to do, because oxygen is killing you, lack of oxygen. So the presence of oxygen equals a lack of disease. Nobody's getting in the oxygen they need unless you go training or running. Okay? So you need the oxygen first thing in the morning, get yourself out the door, make one step every single day closer to that, you know, and don't cower down, man. We did enough of that when we was in our disease. I'm sorry. Sorry is a sorry word. You start changing your internal dialogue, therefore external dialogue, that you are the man that can do this, and you have been chosen to do this, and nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to stand in your way. You think we've come through all that shit for nothing? You think we've survived just to survive? You are wrong. You are so wrong. Because I'll tell you now, if we went to court tomorrow and Jimmy's listeners want to start a treatment center, you bring all the evidence that you can't. I'll bring all the evidence that you can do it. And when we get to court, the judge is going to throw you out of court. He might even stick you in prison for lack of evidence. Because I have all the evidence that you can do it. That's how life works, man. Look at the evidence that I've got that you can do it. Go out and fucking do it, man.
Woo! Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh my God. I feel like I want to run through a wall. I love that. What a beautiful energy going into this weekend. Dr. Robb Kelly, so much, very much do I appreciate your time. I'm really honored to have you on this podcast. Let's go ahead. Before we end this here, I want you to tell people about how they can find you, what to look out for. You've got a book out there. You've got a podcast. Let us know all this amazing stuff.
So there is a book out there, you know, it's called Danny, Please Stop Drinking. That's me
right.
wasted on a visit that I got very seldomly. We got 10 copies for this show. So Waylon or me, text us, I saw you on the show. I'll sign it. I'll pay for the postage and everything. I'll send it to you free of charge.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, my friend.
Secondly, parents, if your sons or daughters are going through shit and you don't know what to do, I have a part of my offices where two ladies, one is my wife, that are waiting for the phone to call to talk to you free of charge 100 times a day if you need to. We want to get you through this and give you advice. We don't want your son to come here. If you insist, then great. But this is not a sales pitch. Even after your son gets better or whatever, you can still call my guys and get advice. That's number 2. Number 3, Google my name, man, Dr. Robb Kelly. If you're listening, not watching, I spell my name with 2 B's, ROBBKELLY.com. Jump on all the social medias, come and say hi, come and like us, send me questions. I'm always here, and I will always reply. Just give me a few hours if I'm not straight away, man. But yeah, I mean, you know, if I can help you in any way, I am quite busy. It's kind of pointless saying that, but you know, if I can make a phone call for you, if I can do this, if I don't know, man. I just want you to know that I'm not one of them rich guys that are sat on his pedestal going, I don't care about anybody. I didn't mean it in that context. I don't care about my haters, but I will walk to the moon and back for you. because I've been in your shoes and I will always be in your shoes, man. I wear pretty nice shoes today. I'm keeping them for you.
I love it. I love it. And then you have a podcast, correct?
So we've just stopped the podcast because I'm
Okay.
so busy right now, but it will come back, and it's called the Dopamine Hour. We've had Tom Cruise on there. We've had a few good names on there. So yeah, it's still out there, I think. So go find it. And January we're starting a new podcast. So yeah,
Beautiful.
that's us. Oh, if you're in San Antonio, the Old English Tea Shop is on my restaurant. It's coming there. If you mention the show, I'll feed you free of charge. I'll bring you into this part of my offices. I'll put you on the 9-dimensional thing and the photo modulation. You'll go home a different guy.
I love it. All right, guys, you hear that? And say it again, British Tea Shop, or what was the restaurant name again?
The Old English Tea Shop.
The Old English Tea Shop. All right, I'm gonna have to tell my wife about that. We like to travel a lot, so we might have to come see you out there in San Antonio there, Dr. Robb Kelly, all
We'll
right?
take care of you, man. We'll take care of you.
I love it. Thank you again, my friend. You have been so amazing. What a wonderful podcast, guys. So just to let you guys know, all those details that he just talked about, I'm going to put it in the detailed notes of this podcast episode. So don't worry, if you're there with your scratch pad and your pen, you're trying to put it in your phone, it's going to be there, guys. It'll be in the episode details. So as we're heading out here, the outro music here for the band Hannah there. Don't forget, those are those young guys from Simi Valley, California, playing some amazing music. Give them a listen on Spotify, YouTube, or Apple Music there. And just a shout out again to all the listeners, all the viewers. Thank you guys so much. It means the world to me. It also means the world to Dr. Robb Kelly for other people willing to listen to his message. Share the word. Share this podcast episode. Look him up. This is amazing stuff, guys. This is more education this world needs to go through. So again, thank you so much. Leave a comment, like, follow on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and look up Dr. Robb Kelly as well. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful weekend. And just like Dr. Robb Kelly said, just fucking do it, guys. Just do it. Believe it. Catch y'all later.